What's going on, everyone? It's Matt. NFL Week 10, the Raiders go to Denver to play the Broncos for Thursday Night Football. I am a Raiders fan. I watch them every week, so I feel like I have a little bit of knowledge on this team and what they're good at and what they're not good at. And let me tell you, they're not good at a lot of things. And one thing that they're not good at is stopping efficient quarterbacks. So for my very first pick of the four I'm going to give you is going to be Bo Nix to throw for over 1.5 passing touchdowns. If we look at Bo Nix's record versus the Raiders, he swept them last year. He went 2-0. And in both games, whether they were in Vegas or at home versus Denver, he threw 2 touchdowns each, well over 200 yards. And he had a great quarterback rating as well. Didn't throw any picks, threw a very clean game. And I like the momentum. And I really like this pick because this last few games here, Houston, he threw 2. Dallas, he threw 4. And then 2 versus the Giants. So if you see here kind of earlier in the season, you have some 1-touchdown games. But here in these last handful of games, you can kind of see exactly the momentum that he's picking up. And I really like that, especially versus a Raiders team that's not very good. And they have trouble with pass defense. I think they're in the bottom 5 teams in terms of overall pass defense. And this is a good get-right spot for Bo Nix. He hasn't looked very sharp as of late, but they're at home in prime time. I think he's going to shine out versus these Raiders. He's going to have someone to throw it to, and I'm going to be climbing over to the receptions. And I was torn here. I was looking between Troy Franklin and Sutton. Cortland Sutton is actually on my fantasy team, but I'm actually leaning more towards Troy Franklin at 2.5 receptions. You may be asking me, Matt, hey, why Troy Franklin? Cortland Sutton is the big-bodied wide receiver 1. Well, if we look at Cortland Sutton, we pop over here to ESPN, and we just kind of look and see what he's done last week. He only had 1 catch that ended up being a 30-yard touchdown, and then 4 catches, 6 catches, and then versus the Jets. This was a tough game. I think this was the London game, but the Jets defense isn't that great, and he had 1 catch on 3 targets. But if we look at Troy Franklin in the same time frame, and remember, Troy Franklin, they have history. Bo Nix and Troy Franklin both played together at Oregon, so there is some chemistry already there. But he's had at least 3 catches in every game so far out of these last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. And he's had 3 touchdowns, 2 to go along with it. So the targets are there, the receptions are there, and that's why I'm leaning a little bit more towards Troy Franklin here. And I bet you the Raiders, I know them really well. They're going to be doubling here. They're going to be focused really hard on Cortland Sutton, and that's going to leave it open for Troy Franklin. So those are my 2 plays for Broncos, and like PrizePicks, you have to go with at least one other player on the other team, and the one player that is doing it all right now for the Raiders, it's not Genty. His name is Brock Bowers. A lot of people like him to find the end zone. I don't. I like his receptions. They're going to find him early and often. They're going to force it to him so bad it hurts. Geno Smith, once he finds something he likes, he loves it, and he goes for it constantly. Like, for example, 13 targets, 12 receptions. He even carried the ball once for a hat trick in the game where he just came back from injury. I think 5.5, I think that's great value, honestly. I think this is something he might even hit in the first half. I think they're just try and get him in space. They're going to try and get him the ball out in the flats, over the middle. He looked really healthy, and he's also on my fantasy team too, so I'm rooting for him to have a good game. But Jacoby Myers, I would fade him. Jacoby Myers is on the trade block, and I think he's not fully committed to this team, and Tucker's too small, and the Broncos defense is too good. So I think this is going to have to be a Brock Bowers kind of game, so I think they're going to give it to him at least 6 times. And then I have one more play for you. This is going to be a little fun one. Let's see if I can find it here. We're not going for rush attempts. We're looking for the longest rush, and we are looking for Geno Smith under. If we look at his last 5 games, he's only hit this once versus Chicago. It was a 120-yard run, but 4, 1, 0, and 5. Geno Smith does not run the ball. He's not the same Geno Smith that was on the Jets or in Seattle. He doesn't have the offensive line to do that. If you look at his whole season body of work, we saw in the first couple weeks, he ran it. He had an 11, 15, and a 20. But look at the last month. The carries are there, but the offensive line is getting worse, and they're playing versus a team in the Denver Broncos who lead the NFL with 40 sacks. The next best team is the Lions with 28. Expect the Broncos to bring pressure. They know exactly what they're getting with the Raiders because they see them twice a week, It's the same defensive coaching staff that played the Raiders last year, so there's going to be no surprises. If anything, Geno Smith is a downgrade from what they had in Aiden O'Connell last year. And let me tell you what, Aiden O'Connell was a stone. He's a statue. He can't run. Geno Smith, he can't do much of running either. So these are the plays that I really like. I feel really good about this, guys. I have Bo Nix over 1.5 passing touchdowns, Troy Franklin over 2.5 receptions, Bowers over on his receptions, and Geno Smith less than 7.5 on his longest rush. I think this pays out pretty well. This pays out a 6x. So I want to say thanks for watching my video, everybody, and good luck.